It's your girl Marquita Beyond, the host of the Pink Link, and we are linking today, hunty. And as you see, I have a guest to my left. I have the lovely actress Andrea-Rachel. Rachel.
It's okay.
Y'all know me. I be trying to get the names right because I did, read How to Influence Friends and Win People Over, or whatever the book. Y'all know the book.
She did a good job. Look, I've been called everything from Dre, Rhea, Ray, Rye, Ree. It's okay.
Thank you.
Andrea, Andre Ree. It gets all interconnected. It's fine.
Good. I'm glad. Y'all see, she giving me grace. Giving your girl grace.
Of
because
course.
We're going to get it together by the end of the show. We know that. So, girl, thank you for coming on the Pink Link.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so y'all, I'm just ready to dive into this. And as I was just mentioning, and we was having a little, lit outside conversation before we started, like about, her journey and some of the self-development things that she do. And I just want to get into that. Usually that's the last question on the Pink Link, but I want to give y'all that, as an appetizer to that.
Spiciness.
Yes, it's okay to get a little, little some razzle dazzle before we even get into the conversation. So what is, I just mentioned how to win friends, how
to win over friends and influence people.
How to win over friends and influence people. Yeah, I ain't ready in a minute. But what's another book or self-development things that you do that you would like to give to the audience today?
I do a lot of things for personal development. I try to spread them out, and I try to find a balance in between them because I am someone who likes to keep things a little bit sizzled with mixing it up, so I can't do a routine. So when I say I do something routinely, what it just means is that I incorporate it into my everyday lifestyle often. It doesn't mean that I have like a set time or a set day or a set, I just like to mix it up. But I've done meditation, and I know that's so cliche because it's the trend right now, but I promise you I've done meditation. I do a lot of reading, I do stretching, and I do things that help keep me in a relaxed state of mind, whether that's cooking, whether that's doing some type of art, writing in a journal, or whether it's just listening to some music and just like dancing. I'm one of those girls where I will dance in my room at like 3 o'clock in the morning, just zen out. I don't need no alcohol, I don't need any smoking, I just need a vibe.
For life.
I just need to have the whole lights off, the other setting there, and create my candles and my little nice aromatic smells and scents, and then I'm in my zone. So
girl, you
I'm
taking me there and I ain't even there.
So that's what I do on a routine basis. But as far as the books that I've been reading, I've actually just finished getting back into the zone with some great audiobooks. I've been listening to The Instant Millionaire, The Power of Positive Thinking. I always have a go-to. My go-to is The 4 Agreements. I don't know.
Now y'all know, if y'all don't watch the Pink Link, that's one of the #1 books I always recommend, because The 4 Agreements, and y'all know I be like, it's always one out there, but no, I'm for the name it for you. Don't take things personal. Don't make assumptions. Do your best. And it's always that one, but I got it. Dang.
Be impeccable with your word.
Why do it do me like that, y'all?
It's the hardest one, and you don't think it's going to be the hardest one. The first one I thought was going to be the hardest is don't take things personal, right? But what happens is, even when you don't take something personal, sometimes we still got something we want to say. And you sound like you're from the country.
Jackson, Mississippi country.
Okay. So I know that's especially hard for you guys because the South always got something to say.
Yeah, or assumptions. Like, you got to brace yourself, because we'll write a book, baby, and tell a movie and everything on an assumption.
And I'm
on
from
what
Brooklyn.
we assumed.
And I'm from Brooklyn, so it's one of the hardest. I think, I forget about it too. I'm always
I'm
now
thinking of
reminded.
Brooklyn.
I'm always like trying to be mindful. I'm like, okay, be nice with my words. Watch. And it's not really more so for, and this is what helped me get into that, because at first it felt on some, I gotta be nice to people. I gotta spare people's feelings. Are these people sparing my feelings? Like, are you, and then you realize that it's to help your mental. It's for the power of positive thinking. When you're more aware of what you say, how you say it, it reduces your karma, but it also just eases your mind. It also keeps you in a higher frequency of love and power and receiving and giving. And so, like, if I do forget to be impeccable with my words and I say some fly shit out my mouth.
But girl, that book just changed how you move, period, right? You can't move the same way after you read it.
I don't know if you can. It's just that something about it has juju on it.
Right.
So
like,
you
it's like
you're gonna read it and then you're gonna be like, yeah, whatever, that sounds good. But
no, it's
for
gonna
whatever
be hard for
reason,
you to go
it hits
against the
you.
grain. Cause like even when people want me to come after certain things or do certain things, it's like I know if I really can't commit or I'm not sure. I say I aim. So me saying I aim is not me telling you I am, because if I tell you I am, then that means I literally got to go and I got to be there. So, yeah, because I got to be impeccable with my word.
And then watching your verbiage too, it makes you more intentional, right?
Right.
So now you're paying attention to the things that you're putting out there because you have to be more intentional about that.
Yes.
And so, I don't know. I didn't read it with the expectation of holding it as my own philosophy, but it does start off as a little bit of a challenge. Like, can I even do this? Like, how long can I do it for? And then next thing you know, you're just doing it 24/7 and you're like, oh, but
that book really helped me. Like,
that's
if you haven't read it, now I done told you about 110
and it's short.
Time. It's then like read it in a day.
Not
2
even
days.
2 hours, 3 hours if you can. If you can get away from the kids, if you can get away from family, if you can take a break from work and
invest in yourself. This book will change your life, and we're not just saying it because you know if you go watch old videos, I said it, and now she's come on it, and I didn't even know that was her book.
Well, I also have a highlight of all the books I'm reading, finished reading audiobooks, so you can always go look at the read highlight, and it'll tell you what I'm into, what I've listened to, what I've been on, and I'm excited about those things because they put a new level of excitement and enthusiasm in me. So yeah.
Right. So let's go into new things and things like that. So we're talking about books and education and things like that. So as we progress, you know, in this world, and I was riding the other day and I said, girl, it's so much technology going on and, you know, AI and things like that. Girl, this remind me of the Jetsons. Did you ever watch the Jetsons growing up?
Yeah, but like
like you remember they had all those robots?
Because
we seen a robot, yeah,
and fly.
So
okay.
Yeah. So what do you think about tech, and are you even into tech yourself?
Technology?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm into it. I'm into it a lot. I just started a tech hub for those who are individuals who may assign or may see themselves as different, unique, deformed, or chronically ill survivors of cancer, sexual assault, domestic violence. And that hub allows them to barter and trade amongst each other with resources, skills to learn, get opportunities, and just create this bridge between how they feel they're identified in society and those who aren't identified the same way or don't perceive themselves as the same way, and just allow them to kind of network and get into rooms and doors and hear stories and find people to help express what they want as far as their narrative is concerned. And yeah, so that's how I've broken into tech. And just even the trademark alone has allowed us to be valued extremely high, so I'm forever grateful for that. But as far as AI, I think it could be a tool that is positive if we use it correctly.
Yeah, I feel the same because, I mean, a lot of stuff I need to say and need to say it more professionally instead of me having to think on it, go to right to ChatGPT and type in, and there we go.
See, I do like that aspect. I like that aspect because it does give a freedom of allowing you to have more time, right? If you want to limit the amount of time that you're invested in something because maybe you want to spend more time with the kids or you want to do something as family, I understand that. Then, because I am in the disability space, this gets me a little excited, but because I am in the disability space, I do understand that there are some people who don't have their digits. And there are people who, you know, may need help writing for extended periods of time, like visually. I went through a thing with my eye. And so for a while in 2015, I couldn't even see out of my left eye for 6 months.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, you know, there are little things like that health-wise that have happened that people don't know about that have kept me on my vegan journey as well. And so, like, I understand the need to stay away from devices and have another tool to utilize in order to get something done that's just as efficient. My thing is I don't want it to become a go-to to the point where it's kind of a crutch for people. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you have the ability to sit down, think, take the time and space to do something, also utilize that too, because we take little things for granted. And when I had the opportunity to go through what I went through, I learned just how much I took little things for granted.
Wow, girl.
Yeah. You know how they say this, the saying where I thought I had it bad until I found a man with no feet?
Right.
So that saying is something that sticks with me. Like, I'm always reminding myself of the little things and the smaller things to be grateful of.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that you shared that with us because, you know, you went through that with your eye people just be on the outside looking in, because I had an experience in 2020 myself. What year did you have your experience, you said?
Mine was in 2015.
Okay, mine was in 2020, and then they just, me having that experience, even when it seemed so dire or so, heartbreaking and fearful for me at the time, out of it, came so much greater, and that's when I started my vegan journey. So,
oh, okay. Yeah, you did say you were vegan.
Yes.
Congratulations. Welcome to the vegan family, guys. We got another one.
I'm 4 years in, and how many years are you in vegan?
Oh, I'm going on 15 years vegan.
Girl,
Yeah.
amazing.
In 2020, that was my 10th year, and so I did eat like a piece of fish, but it didn't sit well with me.
I'm glad you said that, because why I tried to eat a piece of fish this year and I just couldn't. It just, maybe we tried maybe we even should have tried
I did think
fish.
that, but I also realized that certain aromas just sit with me a little bit more and make me want it. But then when I go to actually eat it, it doesn't hit the way that my brain is making it in my head. So I'm like, okay, I really don't need this, like how I want it.
How you thought you wanted it.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a treat for me to see, would my stomach be able to tolerate it. It was supposed to be like, did I really miss it? Or, how, like, I just wanted to experiment to see after 10 years, could I do it? I did it, and I realized I just feel better vegan.
Yes.
I feel better vegan. I feel like I'm also helping, but I never started my journey to become vegan, so I never actually intended on being vegan. This was before veganism went kind of viral and trendy. And long story short, when I had the fish, I just wanted to see, and it wasn't worth it to me. So I just decided not to go back to the fish.
I feel the same way.
But
girl,
it's supposed to be after the 10 years, if I stayed, then every 5 years, I find something that I used to eat, try it, and see if I want to go back. But I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm going to, because my 5th year is coming up. I don't think I'm going to do it this first 5th year. I'm going to wait my next full.
I'm glad you said that, because I want to try lamb to see, because I'm like, I would do like foreign meats, but I haven't tried it yet. That was just that one incident with
well, I'm Jamaican, so we eat curry goat.
Oh, girl.
I don't know if it's cooked the same way as lamb, because I know in different cultures they cook lamb differently. Some people really make lamb like a steak. I know in the, what is it, gyros?
Yeah, euro.
Yeah,
I say gyro, but
gyro,
say
okay.
euro.
But I know that they cook their lamb a little bit more like steak, and we don't. But it tastes like if you've ever had beef, ground beef. That's the consistency of it. Think of a longer, thinner ground beef taste.
Sometimes I wish I would have tried more things before I went vegan, because I'm like, I never had that.
But protect the lambs. Protect the lambs, love the lambs. Let's not eat
I ain't
them.
gonna go eat the lamb, girl. I'm not.
Not every time you be vegan and you're like, I want to eat a lamb.
Right. Girl, so we're discussing your vegan journey and things like that. But I also heard a birdie say you got a documentary coming up and things.
Oh, I do have a documentary coming out. I'm hoping that it's well received. It's about something that I went through for like, I want to say 6 to 8 months. And it was the craziest, not the craziest time, but it was a very eye-opening time in my life. And in me trying to do stuff with my property and having an investor and having someone host me at their home, it turned into this huge thing. And I'm just so excited. It turned into this huge thing, and I learned a lot about family dynamics. I learned a lot about love. I learned a lot about what I want for myself even. I learned a lot about what I can tolerate. I learned a lot about aesthetics and how people communicate and the different type of signs and clues to look at for something when it's heavily toxic and when it can, go borderline dangerous. And I wanted to put those into a documentary to share, because I also wanted women to have an outlet of saying, like, this is what I wish I would have known, or this is the things that I could have looked out for. These are the things that happened to me. And then I want to intensify it so people can see just how severe it can get. But I think the universe put me in that position so that I could use my own story instead of manifesting it through other people. So we're going to tell my story of my short stint in a problematic area and place. And then
a problematic area and what?
And place.
Okay.
Right? And I was able to rescue myself from that area and place and that time and that moment. And it was very shocking and borderline psychotic, right?
Wow.
So me getting out of that mental place and that mental space, for me, I kind of feel like I want other people to be able to do that for themselves. right? I want to break the cycle and the chain of women who feel obligated, who feel owned, who feel insecure, who feel powerless, who feel hopeless. And I want to get them to a state of understanding that no matter what it looks like, if you step outside of those doors, you are worth it. You are worth the fight. You are worth the certainty that no matter what happens thereafter, you can get the hell away and out. And the universe is always going to defend a woman who's fighting up for herself and her rights and her freedom and her love and her heart and her decency and her mindset and her patience and her gratitude. And it doesn't mean you're always correct. It doesn't mean you're always right. But it does mean that you always have a right to identify the future self that you want and go achieve that. Right? We talk about the pursuit of happiness a lot, but a lot of times that starts with our soul. So a lot of times we're not manifesting the things that we want for ourselves because our soul wants something that our brain is not yet aligned with, because we are afraid of how. We're seeing all these things that change our mind, or all these things that are supposed to put fear in our heart, or we see all these things that are supposed to guide us in what someone else wants for us, or how someone else sees us, or how society thinks of us. And I think it's about time that we get ourselves out of the most toxic, dangerous environments, because we fucking can.
Amen.
And we don't really need to always be right and correct. And if we look at men, the number one pattern in a man is the audacity, right? And I love me some men. Don't get me wrong. I love me some men, and I have a toxic.
That's what I told my friends. I said you gotta love them. When we talk about them,
and I have a toxic trait
what
too.
Else you gonna do? We all got.
I have a toxic trait too, and it can be kinky sometimes too. And you know, there are things about people that tie them in, and there are invisible strings, and there are things that call to us in different ways and dynamics. But the best thing is understanding and learning and listening to that soul part of you, right? And the moment you start listening to that soul part of you, if there's something deep inside aching you saying this is not it, this is not right, then get the hell out. Wow. No matter how it looks, no matter how rugged it gets, because you deserve that energy, right? You deserve that time, that patience, that understanding. Even if you're wrong, if it's not sitting with your soul, get out of it. And it's hard. And the universe just let me know how hard it is, so that this way I know what I'm talking about. And it's dangerous and it's difficult and it takes discernment, right? It takes self-awareness, it takes discernment, and sometimes it takes support, sometimes it takes a team, but it's possible. And this is just not in a way at all to bash a man. This documentary doesn't focus on bashing men. It does not focus.
It's just telling your story.
It's telling my story and capitalizing off the fact that women together, when we start giving and granting one another permission to be our best selves, it frees us. When we start telling women, go ahead, do that for you. If that's what your spirit and your soul wants, do that. It could be a phase or it could be forever, but do that. You could be wrong or you can be right, but do it. You have one life and there's freedom in this one life. So do what you need to for the sake of your soul. And I wish men knew that this wasn't about them, and it wasn't bashing them, and it wasn't breaking up a home, and it's not breaking up a family, and it's not breaking up love, and it's not stopping love, and it's not stopping two people finding each other and working through it. This is never telling anyone that because there's a spat or there's an issue or there's a dynamic of frustration or confusion or complexity that you just walk away. I don't believe in just walking away from love, and I don't believe in divorce either, right? But I do believe in separation so you can heal your soul. I do believe in protection of the soul. I do believe in respect for a woman and her body and her body autonomy. And I do feel like we need to put that in the forefront. And yes, women can also be bigoted, but like I said, men walk around with a level of audacity that I think women can start utilizing too.
Yes.
And at the end of the documentary, we talk about love.
So and there you have it. But the gag is, we're going to get to the love.
But before we get to the love, we get to the grit. You see certain things come up and you hear certain things that were directed to me, things that were specific for me and me in a toxic situation and environment. And this wasn't even someone that I was dating. And that's the magnitude of the thing. It was just the entitlement to me because of our working relationship, because of me being in the same proximity with them, because of their long distance thing. So it had nothing to do with a relationship dynamic. They actually had, a wife living in there and who was caretaking for them and all this other stuff. So long story short, we get to the grit. We hear a lot of F-bombs. We see a lot of it's a lot. And
It's
you're gonna be like,
gonna
I
be
can't
good.
believe she went through that. Like, why did you go through? And it was for an extremely short period of time.
But I
But
have
it
a similar
happened.
experience when you talking about that. Like, we wasn't dating; it was out the blue, something I wasn't expecting, and the
Yeah.
audacity to think that I'm just supposed to do something because that's what you want. When I
It wasn't just about doing, it was about being, right? Because I wouldn't transform into the person and the individual who was okay with certain things or wanted certain things. For my lifestyle and my life, it brought out a heaviness, it brought out a darkness. There was a lot of insecurities,
Wow.
jealousy, and other things that came up. Knock on wood, because I don't want to bring that back in. You know, that
Right.
energy's over there, right? So we're only utilizing that energy to grant women the permission we need in order to
Right.
get out of it.
For the
But we're
right.
not taking that energy on with us. So that's how you take a negative thing. That's how you turn lemons into lemonade. And that's also how you take a negative situation and you transform it and you transmute it and you put it over there and you keep it there, just, you know, in its own little place and space and time. So knock on wood, I'm in a beautiful space now. I'm with
Yes.
beautiful, loving people now. You know,
Free.
I have a lot of love in my life. I have a lot of support in my life. I have a lot of ambition, and you know, I'm excited about the future. But it was a very short stint of time, and just to make sure that it doesn't end in a negative way, we have people talking about love, and like at the end, they're talking about how long they've been married. They're talking about what they feel love is, how they knew signs of love. They're talking about just peace and, you know, identifying signs of toxicity. It really is beautiful. It's not the best. This is like a guerrilla marketing, gritty type of documentary, but I feel like it gets the job done. And for my first project, I think it was just right up the alley because it's me telling a personalized story. And then maybe from maybe 4 months, that was where the most toxic part and component of it happened. So yeah.
Well,
But there's
thank
so much
you
to it.
for sharing that because I can't wait to watch. Like, it seems very, very interesting, you all. And so you mentioned a tidbit about free and being free. And so we're going to take a moment for the wisdom wiser, which we usually do in the beginning. And I wanted to share this with you just to get your thoughts.
Okay.
Freedom is complicated. And this is from Pastor Paul. I forgot his last name, y'all, but it's not my source. Freedom is not as simple as many make it to be. Freedom is terrifying to people who've never known it. So in that aspect, he was talking
Say that
about
again one more time. Freedom
Yes.
is
freedom is complicated.
okay.
Freedom is not as simple as anyone makes it to be, and freedom is terrifying to people who've never known it.
Okay.
So he was really talking about like Stockholm syndrome, like you know
Okay.
how you can be in something so long and you want to be free from it, but then the minute you get out of that abusive relationship, then you ready to go back because that's all you know was that man. You've been with him 20 years and now you've been single 3 months or so, and you ready to turn around. Though you free from something that you needed to be free from, you still kind of want to go back to it because you're familiar with it. So is freedom actually freedom for many?
I honestly disagree so respectfully with that quote, and I feel like I don't want to come off wrong. And
No.
I want to say that I feel like that quote is going to resonate with some people, but for me, freedom and the idea of freedom is just a whole different philosophy in my mind. And a lot of times people feel like I can come across a little idealistic, and many people don't know the things that I have gone through and that I do experience. So that's why I think that they feel as though a lot of what I say is idealistic versus accurate or experience. But I'm still going to be myself and say that for me, freedom, if freedom is ever feared, then it hasn't been tasted enough. Anyone who has ever experienced true freedom understands that it's worth every plight and every fight. Yes. The ability to say yes, the ability to say no, and the ability to have no qualms about it is a peaceful thing. And if you ever had freedom, freedom is attached with peace of mind. Freedom means that there is no battle of the heart and the mind because you're free to make the mistake. You're free to make a stupid assumption. You're free to be wrong. You're free to have fun. You're free to live. You're free to try it over again. When we think about freedom, sometimes we just think of freedom in this way of saying independence, right? And independence and freedom are two different things. Independence means to be without someone else or without another entity attached or associated. There are a lot of people who are not associated or attached with other entities, and yet they're not free. And they're not free because they haven't given themselves the freedom of perception to be who they want to see and how they feel. We're still living in societies where people are walking around independently locked up. There's a meme of a horse that's attached to a gate. and this chain. And over years' time, the horse is so used to being attached to the chain that it doesn't even notice when it's no longer attached to the chain.
Right. It's sort of like
and
the
so it
same
stays there. Exactly. It stays there.
Though it's free.
Though it's free. And that's kind of like walking around saying, I'm independent, but still harboring perceptions of yourself that society or family or friends or music or reading has put an influence to you to feel about yourself. And so for me, freedom is worth the fight. It doesn't make me fearful, it makes me courageous. When I'm walking in my freedom, even when it's dark and even when I didn't expect something, or even when I don't know how something else is going to pan out, or even when I'm uncertain about other aspects of it, there is a sense of courageousness I get, a sense of feeling brave that I get, that I hold on to, because even if I'm wrong, that's my right to be wrong in freedom. When you're living in freedom, that's your entitlement. You're entitled to live a life where you make mistakes. Right?
I love that.
We don't always have to be right. And Black people and mixed people and ethnic people and whatever the hell you want to label it and call it, at the end of the day, we're always making each other feel as though we can't F up. We are always in competition with other races. We're always in competition with other entities. We're always in competition in our mind with something else that somebody else got going on somewhere. And it's like, no, if you're going to free yourself all the way. You're not in competition with shit. You're not in competition with no one. You're not in competition with anything or anybody at any given point in time. You are you, and you have the right to change. You have the right to grow. You have the right to think how you want to think, feel how you want to feel, and then you can go back to it again. And I think a lot of people don't realize you can say, I like barbecue chicken. It's the best chicken in the world. If nobody likes barbecue chicken, they're dumb. And then turn around and say, I don't believe that. I don't agree with that anymore. I made a mistake.
Right.
And as long as you can own up to your mistakes, as long as you can face them head forward, as long as you can say, I understand a different way of thinking now, my perception of life and things have changed, I understand why that's not the correct verbiage, I understand why, then you have that freedom. Everyone's not always going to agree with it. Everyone's not always going to like it. Everyone's not always going to be accepting of every single thing. But you have that freedom, and you're not gonna live a life that's gonna make everybody like you anyways.
You're not gonna be everybody's cup of tea. That's what I say.
Kanye hated right now, and he's still a billionaire. Trump is hated right now, and he still has a cult. Do you see what I'm saying? Hitler had a cult.
Diddy
has a cult.
He still got people that
I'm trying to get a cult. No. I'm just kidding.
But you want people that's gonna rock with you. But if I'm wrong, you ain't gotta rock with me.
It's not that if you're wrong.
It's just people that support you regardless.
It's not just about support. It's about love, right?
Right.
If I love you, I want you to grow. I want you to take whatever necessary steps, hoops, loops, and jumps you have to go through so that you can grow as a human. I see something in you. If I love you, then I see parts of me in you, but I also just like you as a person. So that must mean that there's something about you that I know is going to get you to the other side.
Yeah.
And once you get to that other side, you good. So why would I judge you as a friend?
Yeah,
why would I judge you if I'm working
perfect
with you? Why would I judge you if I'm supporting you? Why would I judge you if I'm looking at you? Why would I be having evil? Why would I waste my time in a negative energy or space or mental being when I could be wasting it in love and attracting more love to me? Do you see what I'm saying? So for me, with the idea that freedom is terrifying, it is terrifying if you haven't tasted enough. If you haven't ever granted yourself your own permission to be completely free, it is terrifying. That part I do agree with, but it's never complex. It's never difficult. It's never anything other than courageous. Freedom allows you to be courageous. It's terrifying if you never tasted it enough, but it's nothing complex about it because it is what it is, which is free. I could have been wrong coming here in a sports bra and some sneakers.
You look good, but you're free.
But I was free to make the decision and the choice.
And you look nice.
And I have to then free myself from the perception of what are you going to think about me?
No.
What are they going to think on the internet about this? Like if I told them I had a crazy day, I didn't get to go to an event that I really wanted to go to, something happened and I had to change my clothes and then it would be understanding, but I shouldn't have to qualify anything that I decided because I made the choice. And once I made the choice, I should free myself from any other perception of it. That doesn't mean that I should never
always have something to say.
It doesn't mean that I wouldn't ever take accountability, right? If I'm wrong. And it doesn't mean that there's no responsibility associated with making decisions. Sometimes we make horrible decisions and they bring about horrible consequences. But the reality is too that freedom in and of itself, I think, is one of the most simplest and courageous things that's there.
I love it. I mean, she broke it down, and I love it because, like you said, freedom is beautiful. Freedom is, what you make it. So I hope you all are taking the initiative to be free because, like my mama said, whether you fat, skinny, tall, short, someone's gonna always have something to say. So you have to walk in your truth and authenticness to be free in who you are, and other people will accept and gravitate towards that. So do that, because y'all heard what she just said. So girl, I'm glad you was able to come on, and I want to shout out your manager.
Oh yes, because
you just gave us a whole rundown, so we got to shout her out before we even move on.
Well, my booking agent is Joya M. Gresham from JM Management LLC. She has set this up. She did the consultation for me, so I was like, oh, I had scheduled this consultation. She's like, I got it for you, don't worry about it. And she's been a blessing since I've been around her since. She set up a few other things, and they've been going great. Everyone has been reaching out to us, and it's a new working relationship, but we've been in the same area and proximity with each other for over 5 years. And so coming out here, she welcomed me, and she's just trying to make everything good. And I'm so happy that the two of you hit it off. But she's also been a gem. She's also been very persistent. Like, she's getting it done. She's getting it out there. She's handling it. And I'm hoping that she could just stay from being overwhelmed, because it is a lot to take on sometimes. But she's great. So shout out to my manager, Joya M. Management.
Y'all definitely go follow both of these ladies. You can shout out your Instagram too right quick. So
I am Andrea-Rachel and J.M. Way LLC.
Okay, so we're gonna put it in the description, but since we was talking about her, we might as well shout her out right now.
Hi, boo.
Yes, boo. Thank you. And so, with that being said, like, being booked and booking consultation and things like that, because you're an actress, what are some of the roles you've done as an actress?
I've auditioned for so many things. I've had auditions as an action hero in Disney, and I'm so mad that, long story, but I couldn't leave a place that I was in, like Louisiana, and get back, because I never really thought oh, it would only be one way, and da-da-da-da. So anyway, I've had some awesome auditions. I've gotten to audition with some great actors even before Chadwick Boseman passed away. I auditioned for one of his things that was supposed to be on Quibi. I've auditioned for a lot of things on Tidal. I've auditioned for, I can stay here for days, and I was auditioning for that. There was a time I think I auditioned for the Bridgerton show. Then I was in a lead callback series for what is it, the name of the Woman Warrior? Joy. What's the name? Woman with Viola Davis. What's the name of that movie?
Yeah, it was.
What's the name of it?
Yeah, it was Woman King.
Woman King. I said Woman Warrior, but Woman King. And this teaser that, as far as why I didn't necessarily get it, but the person who did get it did an amazing job, and I understand completely. But a lot of the things that I auditioned for, I think is so cool now. They're white roles. They are white roles. So it's not that they necessarily want me in it, but they're willing to see me in it. And I'm learning as I go higher up that a lot of things are just not written with the mind frame of certain Black women, and so you have to kind of push yourself in front of them in order to get the visibility that you need. And one of those auditions was for American Horror Story, and then the person that they ended up picking was some big time name white actress, and I love her stuff, so I watched it because I just like her, I like Angela, and I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. I was never gonna get the role because I wasn't the description for it. But how cool is it that I know that those cast and directors know me? One of my favorite roles that I've auditioned for, if I'm being honest, I think it was The Deuce. But I like them all for different reasons. I love my family over power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love power, y'all.
You can't
everything
say no
50 does. Raising Cannon power.
You can't say no to the support and the energy and the momentum and the love that comes from people watching that show. You guys made my one little tiny character feel so special. So I love it.
Which was the character on Power?
That was Destiny.
Okay.
So she sets up Tariq's sister to get killed by Ray Ray, and Ray Ray and her cousin or something, and they were like.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it because I gotta catch up.
I don't know. I think it's like the 4th season,
Yeah.
5th season, 4th and 5th season. Those are the 2 seasons I'm in.
Okay.
But that was fun, and it gave me way more momentum because I feel like everyone in the community got involved. So it was like I would step outside and be like, "Oh, you did something shiesty," and everyone made fun of it, and it was a really good time. So that's always gonna hold a sincere place in my heart. I'm so grateful for the experience. But as an actor, like the juice was it for me because I got to have an accent. I got to be something that's not too far from my roots, but at the same time something very different from who I am as a
What
person.
accent did you have?
I had a southern one, just like a little baby twang.
Like mine, girl.
Like mine, girl. I could do that, but
Okay, girl.
a little different.
Oh, okay.
Think like Jill Scott when she was doing her southern accent for that old school Julia Roberts film. I can't remember, but yeah, it had Pretty Woman was what is that movie? Oh man, why am I having a blank moment? Okay, anyway, the point is it was just a little southern twang.
Okay.
And it was something fun. And I really like things that allow me to show that I can act. I've studied, I have skill sets, things that I'm interested in outside of acting, but specifically honed in on just so I can be really good and prepared for my acting role. So it was just one of those things where I didn't think I was gonna get the role. I had auditioned with some girl who was super trendy at the time. I just knew she was gonna get it. And she looking at me like, why you even here? And I'm just like, whoop. And so
she was supposed to be.
I had a one and done, and I'm just like, thank you. I get to use an accent. I get to show I can act. So that's been my thing. I've auditioned for a lot. I auditioned for Black Cake as well. So Black Cake. Yeah, Black Cake because it's based on So I've auditioned for a lot of things.
Well, great, girl. Congrats on that.
I love
was
my
in
acting.
one thing, and I was supposed to be an extra, like a coordinator. I don't even know if it's been out yet.
If extra work was like really in the area that I have moved to, I probably would go back to that too easily because I think extra work is like one of the smartest things for actors to do and get into. And
you meet people, network.
Yeah, and you get to be around the energy. You get to see how it is to be on set. You have long film days.
Girl, I didn't know it was like that. I was like, babe, we got to be here all day.
And if you don't know people, then you can't get into classes.
And then
it's
we weren't
hard
even
to get around.
We just got lunch and credits. But hey, it was worth it, I'm assuming.
Well, next time go join casting networks. Casting networks allows you to get paid, and you get
do
paid
that.
more than $250 just
Girl,
to be an extra.
we didn't get paid anything. And so I gotta ask you this.
I've done those too though, and those are the hard ones. But normally those are the ones that pay off in the end, where it's like those are the ones that you get to say that ended up being big enough to put on your resume.
I hope it comes out and I can say something about it.
I did get paid for that though, but I don't know. I feel like Friends with Benefits, I did the flash mob dancing scene. Technically it was an extra, but because we were hired as dancers, we were like principal dancers instead of just extras. So as an actor, it's extra work, but as a dancer, it was principal work, and we got spotlighted. And I feel like because of how big it was, the little pay, it was still worth it because it's one of those things that I could put on my resume when I first started out anyway. Wow. So yeah, but sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I love the details. We love the details. So I was gonna say, if you had to choose someone to work with in the actor arena, actresses, whether it's a veteran or someone that's new and upcoming, who would that be for you, Andrea?
See, there's so many though. Like I don't know
you
where
can
to begin.
choose 2 to 3.
It's kind of like
instead of 1. I ain't gonna do you like that. I give you
like,
3.
It's kind of like when they ask me,
or maybe your top 5. Your top 5 actors and actresses.
See, that's what I was gonna say. It's
you know
like
how they do the top 5 rappers?
It's like when people ask me who are my favorite actors and actresses, but I don't know. I like acting. I like good actors.
I know.
If you can act, if you can do something that I admire, and I really feel like you're good at it, I'm gonna like it. So I don't know. It's so hard. I can't pick just 1 or 2 or 3.
I know.
I can't.
Give us something.
I want to work. There are so many people I want to work with. So I still so I was supposed to do Power, the film that Jamie Foxx was in, and I still want to work with Jamie Foxx.
Okay, that's
on the low.
We got one.
I've gotten over it a little bit. that I didn't work with him yet. So I still want to work with him on the low just a little bit. Because he is really talented, right?
Oh yeah.
His work that he did with Ray Charles.
And then how he done just came back.
He can just do everything. And I don't know too many people who can do what I can do. So knowing that he exists is like, okay, I might got to work with you now. No.
Yes.
He can do impressions, he can rap, he can sing, he can play the piano, he can do drums, he can do beat work, he can do, so it's still one of those, I admire your work and I want to work with him. I got this close to being part of Jigga's stuff, so Jigga B I still would want to work with in some capacity, but I think eventually it might pan out in a producer way.
Okay.
But I don't know, as far as acting alongside, I've gotten to, the Deuce also allowed me to meet a lot of people, and Wu-Tang allowed me to meet a lot of people that I wanted to work with, and I finally got to work with them. So I got to work with Method Man.
Oh, girl.
Yeah, that was one of my.
But he's still sexy.
He's not even trying. He looks like that in person.
Girl.
But he literally is. Shout out to his wife.
Right.
But
hey, girl. No disrespect.
I really feel like I was blessed. So I can be a little bit more patient now because I do feel like I got to meet
amazing opportunities.
Yeah, I got to meet certain things and do certain things and figure out now in the next way in a better capacity or a bigger capacity. But I also want to go into a new trajectory. Like I'm still fighting hard for this action role. I'm hoping that somebody somewhere is gonna see me. So I want to go alongside Henry Cavill. I want to work alongside him. I know that. I want to do something with Tim Burton.
That was two.
And I've already technically worked with Hillary Burton, so now it's just a matter of time for Tim Burton to Annie up on it. All right, figure it out. Okay, I could be like the female Edward Scissorhands. I don't know. I'm just joking. But I don't know. There's so many people I want to work with. I want to work with Kerry Washington.
Oh, that's really ill.
I was this close to working next to Columbus Short.
Like I just kept looking like she looked like somebody.
Oh wow, that's a beautiful compliment.
You
I received that.
Favor.
Thank you so
much. That's
much.
what it was like. I'm like,
no offense, Carrie. I'm not trying to dilute you or anything. You the bomb, girl. But I'm gonna receive that energy because period. But no, seriously, I really want to work with her. I think she's very good at what she does. I know people make fun of her crying face, but I really believe her when she's transforms. Who else is with Halle? I like people who can transform. I like when I can see them on screen and I forget that they are who they are and they look like someone completely. I like people who can really make me get sucked in to what they put out there. I wanted to work with Chadwick. I got this close. The audition and everything. So rest in peace. Yeah, I've gotten to at least be around, to engage in conversation with a lot of people. Who else? So Henry, Tim Burton, Kerry Washington. Again. I want to work with Cheryl Lee Ralph.
Oh, I love
Cheryl Ralph Lee, yeah. Yes. I want to work with her. She actually did a one-woman show at my university when I was a sophomore or freshman. And since then, I've wanted to work with her because at that time, I only knew her for her Moesha film, her TV show. And then I saw her perform and I was like, oh, she has it on lock and key.
More than Moesha.
So now that we see her on The Abbott, I definitely want to work with her. Queen Latifah. So we've been playing cat and mouse. She's auditioned me for so many things. I've auditioned for The Equalizer. Like I've done so much work with her auditioning wise that it's just a matter of time before me. Queen, hey baby boo. Hey Queen.
Wait.
So I want to work with Beast though.
Who?
B
Star.
Beyonce.
Oh
Beyonce.
Yeah, what am I saying? No. Beyonce, baby.
Yes,
Queen B.
I think in this lifetime, I want her to be a producer of something of mine. Yeah. So I just need to get to a place where I can have enough resources where whatever I'm producing is gonna be of a magnitude where her and a few other people would be instantly saying yes. For me though, I know what that looks like, so I know I have to bring it to her in a certain capacity. But I'm excited about it because I know exactly what it is that I want certain people to be in on in a certain way, producer-wise anyway. But yeah, there are a lot of people that I want to work with just in different capacities. Like before, when you're young, it's like, oh, I want to meet this person, I want to be around this energy, I want to be around this, that. I'm not in that space anymore. I'm very more, I've honed in on my craft, I honed in on my abilities. I know, what I can be a leader in and what I can play the backseat in, and I know what is more inclined to garner attention, and I'm just in a different space now. So the reasons behind who I want to work with have changed dramatically and dynamically. But yeah, I got this close to being in the Sisters film, and that was helmed by Columbus Short, and he's an amazing actor. He's one of the ones that I think can just transition into any character when he plays.
I love where he's come from and where he's at.
Yeah,
That's
so
great. So I'm gonna ask you this. So you're acting and you have these things going on now, tech, your documentary. As a kid, did you see yourself doing these things, or what was that dream that Andrea had as a child?
I was gonna be a veterinarian.
I asked that because I love that. It'd be like something maybe totally opposite.
No, I was gonna be a pediatrician and a veterinarian. You couldn't tell me anything about it. I knew I was taking care of animals. I still want a petting zoo to this day, or some type of animal farm, and I wholeheartedly mean it. I got to play with Joya's ducks. So I'm not kidding. She was like, "Oh, you serious?" I like hopped, skipped, and jumped over there just so I could like clean it out and clean up their beds. Cause I kept saying every day, "You gotta clean out the water. You gotta clean out the water. You gotta do their bed." And she's like, "Girl, I'm gonna do it." And I'm like, "No, I gotta do it." So that type of stuff, it really revives me. It makes me being one with the animals, being one with nature is really part of who I am. It's part of my soul. You see me hugging a tree, talking to a piece of stone or rock. Like, I'm not crazy. I just really believe in connecting with nature and grounding and just doing all of that root work in order to make sure that our mental is clear and that things just are more likely to go in a better direction. But I thought I was going to be a veterinarian. I thought I was going to be a pediatrician, and I'm really still into anatomy and science, so I don't think those things are ever going to leave me. The truest reason as to why I haven't pursued that, or I stopped pursuing that and I did my creative path, is because I realized that I didn't want to wake up every day and have to put on a white coat and go into a lab or go into a hospital. What mattered to me was trying to find a way to build some type of freedom from having to do a specific thing, right? My grandmother saved herself from cancer. My aunt saved herself from cancer. My aunt was actually supposed to die within 2 years of her diagnosis, and she's been alive for over 15 years now. Wow, so when I say that there are just things in my life that have been around me that have always given me signs and clues, and the way that I find that these women have found peace and these women have deterred from stress is by being able to just focus more on cultivating a lifestyle and a life and a routine for them that's rooted in ease and not stress, and separating themselves from certain trauma and traumatic things. And so I don't know, it sounds a little aloof and crazy.
No, that is right. You cannot be stressed and in chaotic environments. Your environments definitely determine your healing process and determine what dis-ease you form in your body because of your stress levels.
I wouldn't say it determines, but it definitely plays an effect.
Right.
It can play
well, yeah, it does play a part.
Because
if you are subjective to something forming because of your environment.
What do they say? They say like the boat that ships, the boat that sinks is the one that let the water get in. So, it's not always about the environment. You could be around a lot of water, you just can't let it get in. But it's harder to keep the water from getting in if there's a little hole that you haven't closed up all the way.
Girl,
so
we should have passed the collection plate on this good Sunday to Andrea.
Today is Sunday, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, snaps.
Girl, so y'all, we about to get ready to close it out. But before we close it out, I just want to
hallelujah.
Let the church say amen.
Amen. Okay, I'm sorry. Look, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
We ain't got no tangerines up in here, nothing.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Girl. So where do you see yourself in 5 years, girl?
Pregnant.
Oh, well, congratulations in advance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just tell me something.
Like, I'm gonna be in agreement when two or more agree.
I see myself finally in a sense of stability and with more peace, with more love around me, and hopefully in more love than I've ever could have imagined. Just with a lot more things flowing. I had to give myself and grant myself permission to experience that, and it's hard. You don't realize how hard things like that are until you're actually actively trying it. For so long you tell yourself, oh yeah, I know this, I know that, da, 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 da. But when you never really sit down to think about it, and then when you actually have to start living a life that's solely reliant on loving yourself, on being deserving or feeling worthy or feeling powerful enough, it's a whole different beast, right? So I'm now at a space and place where I'm like, okay, I identify with the fact that I am allowed to have a life of more love, of more peace, of more kindness, of more resilience, of more perfection. And that is however you would see it at that time. And because I grant myself that permission, I feel like it grants other people around me the same permission. And the more I can give light to them, and the more I can grant them that permission, the more I realize that energy finds me, follows me, and stays surrounded by me. So in 5 years' time, I want to be even happier. I want to be more grateful. I want to have so many things to be excited about, and to feel loved about, and to feel supported by, and to feel like I can't believe this is my life in the best of ways. I want to experience bliss, and hopefully also in 5 years, I'm pregnant.
You will.
Or pregnant again, because maybe before 5 years.
Right, exactly. Be on the fifth
Or
child.
at least, building.
What if you're on the fourth or fifth?
Or building my family, I should say, building my family.
Yes.
Because it doesn't have to be pregnancy. I just want to feel like I'm cultivating my own family dynamic. So yeah, I'm one of those girls where people see me as, oh, you can be a tomboy, you can be tough, you can be rugged. But I like feeling like, oh, I'm in lingerie, cooking for my man, cleaning. That helps with my femininity.
It does.
So if that's just, I don't know.
The soft life. I desire more softness in my 5 years.
Well, hopefully it comes
bossiness, but more softness.
Right,
like I prefer to be a boss and still continue to grow and receive abundance in my
because
efforts to prosper.
the two don't have to be separated.
Right, but
when you have to be a boss in a masculine way, then maybe you're around people who just don't see you as a leader, so they're trying to bring something out of you. Or maybe you're around combative people, or maybe you're around hardened energy. But you can lead in a softness as
and
a
it's
boss.
better to lead in your femininity than it is in masculinity as a woman, because girl, you get what you want every time. You catch more bees with honey.
Well, it depends on who you work with, but yeah, I believe it too. That's something my grandmother would say. Oh. She said, well, she said it differently, but yeah, you catch bees with honey.
Okay, so before we close it out, what's one last thing you would like to give and say to the audience? Because you've been giving it, you giving much.
Oh man, I didn't think about this question. What would I like to give? I believe if you give something positive, you receive something positive. I know that they say opposites attract, but that's the external, the core, the root of people bringing each other in and staying there. Like you can get attracted, meaning it can get your frame of thought, your attention. It can get your attention by being different or being problematic. But the thing that keeps people staying and connected is the core. So if I want to give you guys something, what do I want to give you? What am I feeling today? What am I feeling? What did we wake up feeling today? My energy directed me to you, baby. So what did we feel?
Victorious.
Victorious.
Yes.
There we go. I want to give you guys a victory. I want to give you guys something
You
to
will
be
win.
a win about, or happy about, or sharing the feeling of empowerment and sharing the feeling of enthusiasm about life. Like I want people to wake up every day enthusiastic, even in the hurdles, even in the problems. Just know that you will conquer it, you will defeat it, you will get through it, you will be able to associate with something that's just greater and supreme and the highest of beings. So I speak that onto you. So my B, yes.
And we thank you, girl, and thank you once again for coming on the Pink Link, just sharing your talents, your gifts, your inspiration, aspirations, and pouring out to the audience.
This is a long interview.
Yes.
Thank you for being so thorough. I appreciate it. I really do.
You're welcome. I didn't know it was. Well, I always try to cut them off around 30 to 45 minutes.
Okay, well, this is gonna be a full hour to get into exclusive. Okay, we special.
Yes. So, y'all know what I always say. You're great in the life you desire, you create. So get to creating. Have a blessed one.